So now that we understand the pure basics of accounting, the question is, how do we fund our business, right? So we use an example that we need $75,000, and that's where we are going to get our cash from. But where are we going to get the cash from? So the question is, do we want to borrow the money from a bank, or do we want to put in the money ourselves or bring on other partners, right? So with that, what's the plus side of a loan? You don't use your own money. I like that already. What else?
Well, you own the company. You don't own anybody else part of your company.
Exactly. You own that. You still are on the line for that loan. But nobody's dipping into your profits once you're successful, correct? What about giving up ownership? You give up control. You may or may not give up control, and we'll talk about that when we establish our board of directors. But no, that's our biggest fear. This is our donut shop, and a lot of companies, a lot of business owners, they may take family money from a family member, from a parent, a grandparent. And there's sometimes is that entitlement that if I'm giving you this money to be in the company, I want to have some say, right? But who knows our business better than we do? And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. I've also seen people turn away that investment money, and they've assumed that they're going to lose control, but people just truly wanted to invest and be a part of something. Or someone wanted the money much worse from an investor, but that actually wasn't the value they brought. That person was bringing knowledge. So they were going to invest in the company, but they were bringing relationships. Our first investor may be our dough consultant for Nana's Donuts. So that's a big question at that point. So we have two interviews we've talked about through this. So Clean Juice. We have a real estate development broker who left that business and with his wife started a family company where they created a juice bar. Great idea, loves the retail, family, 5 kids. Sounds like a Brady Bunch type TV show, but really cool just to run, a very healthy lifestyle business. They were able to fund it from their personal savings, and now they have over 43 locations nationwide within 2 years. What's the cost? How much does 43 shops cost as opposed to one shop? 43 times as much. Did they have enough to open 43 shops? Why didn't they just open up 43,000 in the first place? And as they mentioned in the interview, they had to go out and get additional investors to do so. Now their stake in what they own in that company, they have proof of concept. They have copyrights, patents, all of those things. They've created value out of money they've spent. And let's say a patent, they spent $10,000 on getting their patent. By the time they bring in the investor after the business has run a while, that patent has created value. So you don't just say, oh, the patent only cost $5,000, so now to, be in my company, it costs you $5,000. Well, no, if I've got years and years of sale, there's a lot more value that's been caused from that, as we called it before, our competitive advantage, our sustainable competitive advantage. Sugar handmade gourmet donuts. We heard from Kathy and her idea to run this boutique little donut shop, no different than the one we're building out here. But at some point, the investment that it came in to start that company seemed to be like a lot of money. And as with retail space, you could spend $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 to start a retail space up. And if your business doesn't work, what happens? You've got nothing. All you have is some of your assets. So as she pivoted early on in her business plan, she came up with, let's do this as a food truck. What was the thing about the food truck? Well, it was an asset. Number one, if the shop didn't or the truck didn't work here, you try it over here. You try it over here. You have a much broader location. If we were doing a food truck, we would have a whole other market analysis on who our customer and who our industry was at that point. But for Nana's Donuts, we don't need to worry about it. But at the same time, with the truck, let's say that cost $100,000, $150,000, and it didn't work here, we moved it here. We got options there. The flip side of that is if it doesn't work at all, we've got an asset to sell. We've got a truck to sell. So that is a big qualifier on what avenue you want to go into when raising capital, when giving away equity versus when you want to take on those loans, and what kind of control or expertise that you are looking for within the company. Back in the Clear Collar case, there were investors, as you heard, the very first investor outside the founding group was an emergency room nurse that said, I want to see these collars on all of my patients because what I use right now is not up to this standard of care. So while the founding members were glad they had their first investor, that endorsement and that qualification was worth 10 times more the money that he brought in.
Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/NexagyEducation or visit CasmerWard.com to catch up on previous episodes.